see the Joker, like Joker with the newest one. So how he has a left hand thing, like it's not like severe like that. But yes, like
shit did not be funny, but that's the way that I
cope with it. Like
that's a defense mechanism.
Yes, and people straight have you found like people be straight offended by that?
And I'd be like, oh my gosh, I did not mean to laugh.
Yes, and like even right now, like as we're laughing, like I take this serious. Like I'm serious. Like I do feel bad, but like I just literally can't help it. Like that's my body's way of
coping with stuff sometimes.
Hello everyone, I'm Rachel.
I'm Yani.
And today's Dab Day. I feel like we always have very intimate, like deep, meaningful conversations. And so we were like, we should record this and share it with everyone. So here we are. So getting right into it, for those of you who don't know what Dab Day is, it is celebrated July 10th every year. I think for maybe like the past 5 years, but the reason why it's on 7/10 is because the oil that you make the dab out of, like the concentrate, that's what, I guess it was 7/10 represents the oil that they use. So like 420, you got 7/10 is dab day. Okay. But yeah, a lot of people haven't done that. Have you ever dabbed?
Is it like wax?
Don't have me on here lying. I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think it's the same thing. Or maybe it is. It's like the concentrate. Like, you know, like it's like yellow and okay, so I don't think it's the same thing.
It's like kind of like at the bottom of this.
No, it's like not liquidy, but so, but yes, I actually did once. I didn't care for it because it was reminding me too much of hardcore drugs. But
why?
Okay, so the way you have to do it, it's like a bong piece, and there's like a little metal thing in there to let you know if you're heating it up hot enough, because in order to inhale the dab, you have to get it to a certain temperature. So you run the risk also, like if you dabbing with somebody, I don't know what they're doing, you can like make it too hot, and you already know like inhaling smoke is bad. So if you make it too hot, it like fucks up your lungs. I'm like, it's just too much. So yeah, I'm gonna stick with flour, maybe a little pin here and there.
Oh wow.
This was interesting because I feel like initially we both had like different opinions about it, but ultimately it came down to the same thing. But I don't know, what are your thoughts on the whole situation?
So with the Shakira situation, I used to run track.
I did not know that.
Yeah. I ran track in high school and like my first year of college, but mainly in high school. I went to state a couple times and everything, yeah.
Oh my God, you guys did not know this.
Yeah, I was a sprinter, so that explains like my little track legs. That explains my track legs, but this one really, it really touched me. And just to find out like she lost her mom in the process, it wasn't rules for me for the situation. It was more like mental health over her track career, which she's still young and she's very super talented, and she was only smoking weed, you know? So I was looking at it in this perspective as she was grieving. She made a statement as clearly she knew what she was doing, but I felt like it was like a cry out for help in a way. And I also felt like if she wasn't black, the turnaround story would have been 100% different. Like maybe she would have got more sponsors on, more help, like healthier ways to smoke cannabis without dropping dirty. I feel like it would have been some stuff like that, you know?
I'm waiting for the Shakira pack to come out low key. I'm like, this is great for me. I feel like it's still a great opportunity for her to get like endorsements and sponsors from cannabis companies, because that's like the next thing. Like that's what's happening. I think it's gonna happen. I see it.
I definitely see her making a change for sure. For sure. And she even, I was on her page or whatever, but she made a post like how she wanted to actually change track history. And I wrote her and I'm like, you definitely did. You definitely did.
You're doing that.
Yes, you definitely did. So yeah, I'm just all for her and I support her 100%. So yeah.
Okay. So initially I was like, you know what? Rules are rules. I consume cannabis, so of course I wasn't like tripping that she was smoking cannabis, but I was like, rules are rules. Like, you knew what you had to do, what environment you were in, why would you be smoking cannabis? But then we were talking about it, in your opinion, I was like, okay, I understand. And then it's like the rules themselves are rooted in racism.
Yeah.
Yes. It's all BS anyway. Like, the whole cannabis prohibition movement was about racism, institutional racism against Black and brown people. So it's like, really, what is the rule? You know what I'm saying? Like, why are these rules? When you look at, like, the analogy I thought of was a slave runaway. And somebody is like, well, they had to be punished because rules are rules. The rules are bullshit. Like, so, yeah. And then, of course, hearing other people's opinion, it's just like, cannabis is a whole growing billion-dollar industry. Yes. Like,
that they're trying to keep African Americans completely out of.
They are keeping African Americans completely out of. I think we own like 4%, like, exactly, like in the single digits, like 4% of the industry is owned by Black people. So I forget where that source is from. I'll put it in the video, but that in itself just speaks for itself. But yes, but you mentioned one thing about how I understood that she used it to cope with her mom's thing, but I didn't necessarily agree with people saying, like, trying to, even if she just wanted to smoke weed, like, so what, you know? Like, I felt like maybe, I don't know if her team pushed her to say it was because of her mom, and that is a legit reason. I do think you have to be mindful of how you consume, but it's medicine. So if you were using it because you were grieving, or if you were using it because now you're on top of the world and what the fuck is going on, or for whatever reason she was using it, it's okay, because cannabis is medicine. So.
Yes. And then we also read the LaGuardia report.
Yes, which further proves that the rules are based in bullshit.
The rules were based on the racism, or her disqualification was based on racism, because that report basically dictate the opposite of everything that they try to classify weed to be. Like, they try to classify weed to make us overly aggressive. They try to make weed seem like it increased the criminal rates. Like, no, it actually does quite the opposite. Like, it helps people be more into themselves and like bring higher like self-confidence. Mm-hmm. Like, things that you do when you're high, you won't do like when you're not. Like, you're more free when you're high. Yes. You're not thinking about, you're just like, oh, you're just so mellow and content and like gloomy and like bubbly eye. Like, you're not stressed anymore. And they want to make weed to be such like this aggressive drug, and it's not.
Yes, because around the time that the LaGuardia report came out, they were basically using cannabis to. But yes, LaGuardia report. So basically, they were using marijuana, the more psychoactive version of cannabis that mostly Black and Hispanic people used. A lot of white Americans didn't know about the hallucinogenic effects of it. They wasn't using it like Black people, right, basically. So they used it to criminalize us. And like Yani was saying, they commissioned a team, which was the LaGuardia report, and the team of scientists found that cannabis is not as harmful or addictive as people are saying it is. It actually was good for a number of illnesses, like anxiety. It was great, basically, is what they found. And then they put out the report. So they basically disregarded the committee's findings. They put out the report and was saying cannabis is bad, it's the devil, it's gonna make white women have sex with Black men, like just crazy stuff. So it's rooted in BS.
He basically said, forget that, and we're still gonna crunch down on these laws, you know, on weed, basically. And that's pretty yes.
Yes. So
it was the war on drugs, basically.
Yeah.
But then it was the war on black people because it wasn't, you know.
it was the beginning of the war on drugs.
Yes.
Was the prohibition of cannabis.
Yes. And then they didn't want to start looking at weed in a lighter sense until the hippie.
Until white people, like the beat poets and hippies, made it poppin'. Do your people, like specifically your parents, but like your people know that you smoke? They will now, but
Yes, my parents know that I smoke. Try to keep it respectable, you know.
same for sure.
It's kind of hard when you smoke kush, but you know, yes, they know. My parents actually used to get on my head about smoking, but I had to actually tell my mom, like, Mom, this helps me with like anxiety. Like, if I didn't smoke, I don't know, you know. And then she was just like, okay, like, all right.
Better that than this big pharma drugs. They got all these nasty side effects. Can't sleep, can't eat, can't live without the medicine. Now, I will say one, like people are like, well, weed's a gateway drug. That's one of the propaganda BS things that they made up in the LaGuardia report that we were talking about, or a part of the propaganda to criminalize cannabis and people who use it. But anything can be addictive. It's the person who's using it and why they're using it, and which is why I really loved when we did my intentional smoking with Yani. Like, I was like, I'm really gonna start doing this because don't get me wrong, there have been times where I'm like, okay, I'm consuming too much, or there was times where I didn't know what I was consuming, because when you were shopping on the black market, and so I forget exactly where I was going with that, but yeah, anything can be addictive. But so when people are like, well, you need it to feel this way, you need it to feel whatever, like do you need liquor to go out and have a good time? Right. Do you need a snack before you eat all the time? No, you don't. So anything can be addictive, which is why intentions are important.
Perfect. Intentions are great. Okay? Intention can start your beginning high to your end high. Like, intentions are great to have as a lifestyle anyway.
Yeah. Agreed. So
do your parents?
Oh yeah, I did completely like skip. But yeah, they do kind of like how you said your parents were hard on you at first. My parents were me and one of my line sisters were smoking outside of my house. This was like when I first graduated and I still lived with my parents. And my sister and my parents, they were out to eat. And I was like, I texted my sister and I'm like, text me when y'all pulling up. We ain't gonna be out here smoking when y'all pull up. She gonna text me as they pulling up. So we get out the car, smoke out the car, and she bought like this za pack from Chicago. Like, I was the highest I'd ever been. Like, it was a lot. And so yeah, my mom like was in the room talking to me, and she like, girl, that treated me like I was on hardcore drugs. Yeah. Like, I definitely got treated like a crackhead. But as the laws loosened up, and I'm not gonna say that, like, because that's another terrible thing that I think came from the war on drugs and talking about crackheads. A lot of these people, that stuff was put in our neighborhoods, and a lot of them people that found themselves in that situation, they were simply a product of their environment. Like, if y'all watch Snowfall, a lot of people they thought they was like smoking. They didn't know what they was really getting themselves into. I guess it was unfortunate. Basically. It was unfortunate. So I try not to say crackhead. I do apologize. But they were treating me like I was like on some shit. And now it's funny because even though they still like, I still get side eyes, but it's not like, Rachel smokes cannabis. So, but yeah. When did you start smoking?
My first time smoking. Oh, when did I start smoking? I started
both. Because you're right, that is a different question. But so both.
My first time smoking, I was 18 in high school. We had like a little free block You know what I'm talking about?
Free period.
Yeah, and you can leave and come back. So I'm with my white friends, my white homegirls, and shoot.
Where you go to school?
St. Elizabeth Academy.
I don't know where I thought you went to school. Where's St. Elizabeth Academy, girl?
Southside, by Roosevelt
Oh
Hospital.
my god! I never knew that.
Yeah.
I'm learning so much about Yani today.
It's off Arsenal by Tower Grove Park.
I probably noticed it, but like haven't noticed it.
But yeah, so yeah. They said it's we had me. So yeah, my first time smoke I was 18. My first time smoke I hit the ball.
Really?
Yes.
I feel like that's a good first time though.
And I had to go back to class. Oh Lord.
Oh God. Wait, so your very first time you smoked, you got high?
Yeah.
The very first time I smoked, I don't even remember the very first time because it was my freshman year at UCM. And I had been drinking, but I didn't feel like
cross-faded.
Yeah, I was cross-faded, I guess.
Well, I used to hate that term. People used to be like, I can't smoke if I don't drink. I can't drink if I don't smoke. Like, what? I can smoke and be great.
No, some guys were smoking and I liked the smell, but the DARE program got me. I was like, never do any drugs. Like, my family had a history of like, just like, I was just scared, okay? And so I'm like, well, I like the smell. These people are doing it. They're fine. I was like, let me try. And I didn't feel the effects. But then when I was like 19, I smoked with some friends and I went to pick up my sister from school. And I was 19. And so I guess it was later the year that I first tried it. And then I was like driving and I'm like, I don't think I'm high. Am I high? And then later on, like when I started smoking, I was like, I was high as hell. Like I didn't realize I was, but I was definitely high. So I was 19, smoked with some friends. I love all my stoner friends. I feel like everybody that I smoke with, like it's the ritual of smoking, like the community, like I love it.
Especially when everyone's in like a clear, free head space.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Yeah. I like to smoke with people who can be quiet. I don't like to smoke with people who just blows my mind, just talk too much.
Just like uncomfortable with silence.
Yeah. Like it's okay. Like just chill. Yeah.
So,
yes.
If you could smoke with any person, dead or alive, who would it be?
Yep. Dead or alive.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, okay, maybe pick like the top 3 then, if it's too hard, if it's too much.
Cause I definitely want to smoke with Tupac.
Okay. Why Tupac? I just want to know why. I don't think I've ever heard anybody say that.
He's really intelligent. He was really like for the community. He was like really passionate and like he spoke that shit.
So you wouldn't mind if Tupac was talking too much while y'all was high?
No, I would not. No. I would go to him just so he could fucking talk to me.
Talking good shit.
Yes, come on.
Whatever you was telling Jada Pinkett, I'm just playing. But
oh my god.
This is good. This is the grapefruit.
Yeah.
This is fire.
But my celebrity right now that I would smoke with on this day, Wiz Khalifa.
Okay, that's a good one.
I have to like experience Taylor Gang. Like,
oh my God! So he was here. This was years ago. But Chris, shout out DJ Climate. He smoked with Wiz Khalifa, and Chris like be smoking. He was like, he straight tapped out. He was like, he tapped out with Wiz Khalifa.
Yeah, I didn't know that. See?
Yes,
that's dope.
And Chris be smoking. Like I feel like I've probably tapped out of a session with Chris before.
Yeah.
But
wow.
So are you get your
I just want the experience. I don't, nothing too serious. I just want to say I smoke with my boy.
Yeah, that part, yeah. I'm like, you gotta know your limits, and that goes back to the intentional smoking with intention.
Yeah,
you gotta know your limits and all that jazz. But okay, who would I smoke with? Dead or alive? Dead. Mm-hmm. Oh my God. so hard. Okay. If he did smoke, I'm sure he did. Why wouldn't he? Prince.
Oh.
I would want to smoke with Prince.
I'm pretty sure he did.
He is so just like shady. I think he's a Gemini. I'm pretty sure Prince is a Gemini, but he's just so intelligent and witty, and he was so ahead of his time, and
he has a beautiful soul.
He has a genuine soul, and I would love to smoke with Prince and like just talk to him about life and industry and how
he got a balance between both feminine and masculine.
Yes, girl, that's a whole nother video right there. Like, later in life, I found that is the ideal, like, most attractive man. Like, Prince was, like, men and women. I am fine. I am sexy. Like, elite. Yeah. Elite man. Yeah. That Prince.
Yeah. For sure.
But yes, Prince, I guess, for my deceased session. And
he gonna be singing to your ass.
Well, I would love it.
His little voice.
Yani, not my listen. First of all, I had that was silly as hell. But I would love to be serenaded by Prince. I hope I'm dreaming about that tonight. I'm channeling that dream tonight. But a lot of Rihanna, period. Just
yeah, okay.
Rihanna.
Yes.
I just want to talk to her. I feel like she's low key, like how she like hasn't been out in the public a lot lately. She didn't give us some new music. She just focusing on her career and her business. And I'm just like, I'd love to see it, but I need more Rihanna in my life.
But I love it.
I love it too.
That's like someone that you would want to look up to.
Yeah.
You know?
Yes. I love that.
Definitely.
I love that. Because I feel like times are so different from like past generations where like a lot of us, men and women, are just single. Like we're not getting married like they used to. And so to see, I feel like usually women, the media puts a emphasis on women and their relationships, but I feel like Rihanna made it a point to like, don't make my career about me fucking like who I'm dating or when are you whatever. Like even though she does what she does, like she's in fashion, music, business, hair, beauty. She's I'm like yes, period. I'm like yes, like fucking goals. And I think it's good for women to see like you don't need to be in a relationship or like have a man to be complete or do all these things. So more power to you, Rihanna. Okay, I have this like fun question. So a time you knew you shouldn't have smoked, but you did anyway, and it like you was like, I knew I shouldn't have smoked. Like you was like too high, or like, does that question make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense.
Okay.
That time where I knew I should not have smoked.
Yes, and then you smoked, and it was like, oh, this is like almost like it's like maybe a buzzkill almost, or like you was just dumb high, and it was a bad time to be dumb high.
A lot of times because I used to be so high that everything was funny to me. And I would be laughing at shit that I shouldn't have been laughing at. Yes. But I'd be so high, like I couldn't.
Okay, so I'm high as hell right now because I keep jumping off the subject. But I think so. Did you see the Joker? Like Joker with the newest one. So how he has a left hand thing. Like it's not like severe like that. But yes, like
shit did not be funny, but that's the way that I
cope with it. Like
that's a defense mechanism.
Yes, and people straight have you found like people be straight offended by that?
And I'd be like, oh my gosh. I did not mean to laugh.
Yes, and like even right now, like as we're laughing, like I take this serious. Like I'm serious. Like I do feel bad, but like I just literally can't help it. Like that's my body's way of
coping with stuff sometimes.
Have you? Oh my God. So like I guess in like Reiki, I don't know if it is Reiki because I don't know much about how it works, but basically it's like that laugh, that's us moving that energy out of our body.
Like
I guess so. Like, yes, like that's us laughing. We're getting that energy out of our body, or like whatever it is we're trying to like. Yes, but I think I have that. So I've definitely laughed at some.
I definitely seen that movie. I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm not that, but I think I have that.
Yeah, like it's mental health is a spectrum, so I don't feel like you have to like
be severe with it.
Yeah, but you can still like have it for a minute. Cause I refuse like people. I just try to have people be hella mad at me, and I'm like, yo, I was like not at all. Like I take this shit just as serious as you. That's just like my defense mechanism. That's how I just help with shit. But oh my god, y'all,
I don't like that at all.
Yeah,
but at least we are aware of it.
Yes.
If we can try to prevent it.
Yes, and now everybody who watches this video knows. So if you've ever been offended by that, on behalf of myself and Yani, I apologize. but people like always have this argument of like, oh well, our ancestors are in the past, you know, they were smoking cannabis all the time, but they wasn't smoking like 20% THC, 17% THC, you know, like so it was okay that they smoked like that. And I guess.
So you think the weed or the marijuana now, that's like more like mass.
Yeah, like it's one. Well, that's a whole other issue. But yeah, it's like mass produced, so you don't really know like what it's like. Anything that's mass produced is really not the best for you. Like we all know that with the food, beauty, all that. But it wasn't as strong, so they weren't. It's like have you seen Good Burger?
Yeah. Like
Mondo Burger. We're smoking like Mondo Burger weed. It's like what the fuck? Like why is it so like cannabis? I want regular weed. And I don't know.
Like Reggie.
Yeah, like Reggie. Like just naturally, cannabis is mostly CBD, and like over time they bred or not. It's not called breeding with plants, but you know they use genetics from different plants and started making higher count THC weed, which is cool in dosages, I guess. But I think a lot of like people that act like zombies off weed is just like you can't. The za pack every day is, or like an eighth of za a day is. We don't know what it does to your body because they wasn't smoking that kind of weed back then.
Yeah. So
I don't know. I think it's important. One, I think even in getting my medical card, like even though I like consumed cannabis and I just know these things about cannabis, getting my medical card and just being in a dispensary and constantly around and like having those conversations, I'm a little bit more educated about what it is I'm smoking and how I'm smoking. So it's easier for me to be intentional and really enjoy cannabis and not have cannabis enjoy me.
Yes. Yes, I just smoke so much. Like everything I did, like before I did anything, I had to smoke. Like to start my day off, I had to smoke.
I still like a little wake and bake now, but I do give myself time in the morning to like.
Yeah, no, I didn't give myself time. It was like I would smoke rather than eat.
I'm not saying I wasn't gonna make an excuse for it, but was it that I feel like our bodies do that naturally. Like I found when I was smoking heavy, I noticed that like if I would kind of stop smoking, I would need to smoke to eat. And that's kind of why, like, because I did smoke. So like
I wouldn't even eat. I would smoke.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Like it would be like a craving to smoke, but it's like, girl, you haven't even eaten all day.
Yeah.
And you know,
I mean, if you had it because you're hungry, but I understand.
It was just like an addiction. Like,
yeah.
Like I had to have my weed. Like, so I'm happy that I was able to take some tea breaks.
Mm-hmm.
You know, tolerance breaks. Smoking weed, cutting down on my weed. How many times I was smoking a day, and how much weed I was buying.
Intentional.
Yes.
Being intentional about it.
Yes, really applying myself and holding myself accountable. Self-discipline too. And then just trying to teach myself like more positive ways to smoke.
Yeah.
Like smoking while you meditate, smoking before you meditate, or after, you know, however you want to do that, but you know, you can positively smoke. You know, you can light up a blunt, use a bunch of sage.
And it feels better. Like, I feel like, at least for me, cannabis kind of like you feel everything more. Yes. So if I'm just naturally like a happy, like light person, so when I smoke, I feel that more. Yeah. And if you got shit that you're trying to suppress, you may not necessarily feel the things you're trying to suppress more, but you're gonna feel yourself suppressing. You know what I'm saying? So like, I don't know. That's why it's important, like Yani was saying, like to be intentional. Like even down to like before you smoke that motherfucker, set and do an affirmation, say an intention. And my first time doing that was with Yani, but like there's other ways to be intentional about smoking, and I think as a community we can hold each other responsible for doing that. Kick the lean and all this shit. I feel like cannabis is just the wave, and I think in cannabis being the wave, though, earlier we were talking about only 4% of cannabis businesses owned like completely by black people. It's 4%, and so I feel conflicted about going to a dispensary and spending my money with these people who aren't using their power and their position and their place in the industry to advocate for them clearly cutting black and brown people out of the cannabis industry, because it's just like, I don't want to, like, yeah, you're in my community and you've hired these people to be the face of or that look like the community, to be the face of the community, but really what's going on is y'all are once again trying to stop black people from having generational wealth. And I feel terrible shopping at dispensaries. Like, I would much rather support someone with a legacy business, and because I know that money is going to feed someone's child, or going back to the community, or to help start a business, a small business, or whatever it may be. So it's just like, get into the industry, but also be intentional about that. I had to be intentional with Juana, because at first it was just like, yeah, cannabis, I want to smoke cannabis, yada, 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 yada. But as I got into it and I saw the bullshit, like just everything that's going on, it's like, oh, okay, like I have to not only be excited that cannabis is coming, but understand that we're trying to have recreational cannabis in 2022, and there's nothing in there about criminal reform, like turning over people's sentences, or tax credits for people of color who want to get into the industry. Nothing in there about that at all. And it's caring enough about it to be involved, or at least tell other people so they can understand, and maybe they want to get involved, or everything about everything that you do should be intentional.
Yes, agree. Those fluoride things that your friend had was good. The natural.
Yes. Shout out to Florette. So yeah, it's like there's all herbs in it. No cannabis, no tobacco. They do look like squares. Like when I posted, people like, I was looking like, no, this is not a cigarette. This is an all natural herb cigarette. But
they were really good.
Yes, it's a very relaxing,
refreshing.
Yes, it is refreshing. It tastes refreshing, and it's a relaxing feeling. I guess if you're trying to stop smoking, or even if you're just looking to take a tea break, or to take a break from cannabis, those are really good.
Yes. Shout out to everybody, all black businesses in the cannabis industry. STL Baked. I get my goods from them sometimes.
STL Baked.
STL Baked 314, I think, on Instagram. And CC She has 9:30 lingerie. She does like cannabis, like bagger shorts. Yeah, Koi had some on the other day that she made. Yeah,
So
they were cute. Yes.
I
So she makes stuff.
cannabis bikini. I'm looking for it.
Yeah, she does swimsuits too. Yes. You.
Shout out to me.
Wanda, her business. She vlogs a lot about cannabis.
And the injustice. Down with the man.
Yeah, she's all into that.
That's the time.
So shout out to all Black cannabis industry business endeavors.
Including yourself and your wellness business. I think what you are doing is very necessary for the community. I feel terrible that I don't remember this woman's name, but she did an interview on Breakfast Club, and something like Spirit led me to watching it. And she was basically saying like, I used to feel like, I don't want to like force my life. So I used to be, I guess, like shy and kind of like just reserved and not really like outspoken, or I felt, some of my white friends call it crunchy. Like I would try really hard not to be crunchy, but you almost kind of have to be, because the food is killing us. The environment is killing us. The the ideas that they put in our head is killing us. And it sounds like, oh my gosh, she's just crazy, she's just kooky, or like whatever, she's plant-based, she's vegan. Like I say I'm plant-based. I don't go as far as I'm vegan, because sometimes veganism, y'all be acting like a cult. I'm sorry. But I try and live a plant. I mean, and too, old habits die hard. I am not holier than thou. Every now and then I will eat a piece of bacon. But we can't be eating bacon and sausage every morning, chicken for lunch, steak for dinner. Like, anyway, I'm going on a whole tangent. I love that you are passionate about the way you live your life and how we as a community can benefit from being more intentional about how we live our lives. And it's like, if you can radiate good and positive things from the inside out, like from you cook the food that you cook to the things that you talk about on social media, like everything in your life should be to enhance you or prolong you, or whatever it is. And I like that you're a warrior in a sense for the community. So yes, Yani the Goddess. But yes, that is all. I guess we'll see y'all when we see y'all. Like, we just be talking, we just be high and having conversations that I didn't know that I needed until we had them. So we're like, why not share these conversations? Yeah. So hopefully you guys learned something, got something from it. Yeah.
Thanks for talking with us, and you guys are going to see us again soon.